Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living by the Law, the podcast discussing fictional worlds and how wondrous and ridiculous they are. My name is Matt, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jude and Guy. Living by the Law is not currently sponsored. If you'd wish to sponsor us, ask your local town crier to get as high as they can and bellow your sponsorship to the heavens. We will hear you. We always do. This time, we slay the world of The Witcher, a medieval fantasy where sorcerers wield magic, monsters are real, and beast hunters known as witches are tasked to slay what humans can't. Join us as we give a rundown of the world and an in-depth look of how it got there. Heads up, this episode contains spoilers for all Witcher-related media, including The Witcher show, games, and books. We've tried to avoid major plot points, but some key points could not be missed. Enjoy.
I feel like Jesus.
Why do you feel like Jesus? Are you full of holes? Are you holy?
I have got a couple holes, but the Zoom video right now, the sun is perfectly behind me, creating this immaculate glare, and if that doesn't make me feel and look like a messiah, I don't know what does. I am like Gandalf at the charge at the Battle of Helm's Deep, riding down the hill with the sun rising behind him, blinding the Uruk-hai. Do you not think, Guy? Do you remember that scene? You remember that scene?
No.
You had to play along with it, Guy. You remember that scene?
Yes.
Yeah, and the horses were charging down the hill and they had their AK-47s ready.
That's my favorite.
No.
Yeah.
Favorite part.
Gandalf says, "Eat this, motherfuckers!" and pulls out his
Exactly.
Gatling gun.
You shall not
My favorite
pass
part-
this bullet, bitch.
My favorite part of Lord of the Rings is where they stop by America and pick up a bunch of AKs and
Yeah.
come to meet them. You know, it's on,
Hey,
that's on
if
the
you want a
way.
bit of that, check out Dirk Gently season 2, my guys.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Well, fuck, we need to do... Why aren't we
Fantasy
doing
world.
Dirk Gently?
Because there's no law. It all happens in the series.
Yeah, but like, we
that's
could
the part
still
of
do
it.
an episode on it.
Also because the director came out as like a, abuser, but that's fine.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
no,
really
I'm
depressing.
Also, Jude, if you want to look a bit more like a messiah, I have an alternative solution for you. It just involves a little bit more carpentry.
Oh? Oh. Well, I've got a big
Yeah,
spiky thing here on the desk I'm at. No? Okay. Maybe... Oh, I've got a stapler. What if I, put a staple through my hand, then we can, put it up on the desk behind me?
Okay, guys, let's not subjugate or whatever we're doing to Christianity here. They've done a lot of shit, but let's leave them alone.
What's
You know what? You know what really is has a lot of Christianity. The country of Poland.
what the fuck are you on about?
And as it happens, it all began from the Polish traveling fur salesman. I forgot how to pronounce his name. Andrzej
It was nearly so good, Matt. It was nearly so good. And then you were foiled by your old enemy, the tongue.
who became an author by entering a short story into a competition held by Fantastica magazine in 1986. This short story was named The Witcher.
Oh, there we go.
And as it happens, he came third in that competition.
Boo.
Cringe.
Bronze medal. But due to high demand from the readers who read it, he ended up writing 14 more short stories, starting a series of novels in 1994 with 5 entries that finished in 1999. Honestly, I respect the hustle. He did a book a year, basically.
That's pretty good.
A short story a year by the sounds of it.
Oh, the novels came out every year, and they were real.
Was it actually like a full novel?
Yeah, so
That's respectable pace.
yeah. It's respectful pace if you look at people like George R. R. Martin.
What? Who? No idea.
No idea. I haven't heard of him. I think he's gone
George-
missing.
J.R.R. Tolkien hasn't published anything in fucking
No, I'm still waiting for
Dude's
Lord of the
publishing
Rings sequel.
schedule's dead.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for Lord of the
know.
Rings sequel to drop, you know?
So lazy.
Gonna get shut down by the time.
But so The Witcher. I'm sure you've heard of it.
No.
There's many things out there. it had The Witcher after being the original Polish novels. They had a standalone. There was also a standalone novel which was released in 2013, which was a prequel. All of these were originally written in Polish and first translated to English in 2007, but didn't finish all the translations until 2018. And it has been adapted into 2 comic books, 1 movie, 2 TV shows, including the one currently running, and which is currently on season 3, has just come out. I was watching the first episode the other night. It was really good.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
was that Blood Moon show?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, it was the spin-off they did on Netflix that got absolutely panned and everyone was like raving about how bad it was. But anyway.
Oh yeah, the spin-off show. I literally, it wasn't even on the Wikipedia page. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
I know they did like a prequel anime kind of like spin-off, which was apparently pretty good. That I need to watch.
Yeah, that one was like I think that was literally called like Witcher Moon or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know what it's
As
called.
much as I should have exposure to this series, I've played 10... Like, Witcher Wild Hunt got tons of exposure. I played 10 minutes of it, got bored and stopped playing. So I'm fresh to this series.
It was always the other Bethesda game to me. You know, like I was fucking complete gremlin mode in Skyrim, and it was like the other Bethesda game.
Was it Bethesda or CD Projekt Red, wasn't it? Anyway.
I don't think it's Bethesda. Bethesda sticks to one thing and doesn't adapt in 11 years. I don't think so.
It was CD Projekt Red. I know it was CD Projekt Red because they then went on to release...
If you go back to the original Witcher, it was actually a short story where Bethesda actually invested a bit of money in the production of the 14th novel, and I actually you wouldn't know that.
Actually, the original short story was one of the tales was about the curse of a child born of incest between the 2 parents.
Nice.
True story.
Win.
Which is based off an old Polish folktale. It is all of his stories are really like based off a lot of like natural mythology and European stuff. There was a nice quote from him I saw on Wikipedia that I didn't write down, but I thought it was nice. It was basically, the gist of it was that like people asked about like the background, the lore of the world, and man's just like, I like stories. I'm just writing stories. I've heard these tales when I was young, and I was just retelling them in like a kind of modern, but from his own eyes, using that kind of gritty realism. And I think that's really cool. And then not until he started writing the novels where he realized I kind of have to kind of build like a legitimate world here and some sort of consistency, which is very interesting. He's like,
begrudging world building.
Exactly. He always said the story comes first, which is really interesting. And I do believe the story of The Witcher is very strong, but the world is also very interesting.
Well, he probably ended up with a really good world because he didn't overthink any of it and was just like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Well, a lot of it like stems a lot from mythology, but again, a lot of it is treaded in mystery because we either don't know or we've got 2 conflicting things have told us 2 things that are separate. Because I think a lot of it is very much in world. You learn it in world. You don't get a separate lore book. So some of the tales the characters have been told are not correct, you know, because they've been reading the history books and not everything was written down. Not everything was written down correctly. But on point, there were 3 mainline video games and a couple DLCs and stuff that sold over 50 million copies. And that's where most people know of The Witcher stuff. Yeah. And they're very good. I love The Witcher 3. It's really got me into the series.
Nice.
The basic world of The Witcher. The story follows a man named Henry Cavill, yes, who is leaving, and it's very sad. Named Geralt of Rivia, who is a witcher, which is a supernatural beast hunter in a medieval European fantasy world where countries, war, and monsters are more than fiction. The content, nearly all the Witcher canon is based in the world of the continent, which is known as the landmass they all live on, which is a land with the sea.
Does it have a name?
That's it. The name is
It's called the continent.
The name
That's
is
why I'm rubbing my forehead right now.
The name is the continent. I'm going to send you that if you can have a click on that. So what I've just sent everyone is a map of the continent, which has a sea to the west, a great sea, and mountains surrounding the north and the east. It is unknown how far the continent stretches in all sides but the west. Many explorers have tried to discover more, but either they turn back or never return.
Interesting. Interesting.
Are you looking at the map?
I'm looking at the map.
So yeah, I had it up, but I don't know where it's gone, so I'm just gonna click the link myself. If people at home want to get up the map, they can clearly see the continent and its shape. There is no official map because it changes so much in the world during the stories, but they have been kind of confirmed that this is basically the gist of what it would look like.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Um,
That place.
Is there just a bunch of? Is there just a bunch of the continent that's just like not mapped because it's all just off them? I've got a corner of a map right now.
yeah, that is so. Everything past the mountains has not been mapped. Many explorers have tried, but either have turned back, hitting impassable lands, or have never returned. That is the only mapped parts of the continent. The northern mountains are known as the Dragon Mountains. There's not much past there that have been discovered, mostly because they are infested with dragons and that keep people from going too far into them.
You know what?
Why hasn't this land?
Yeah, so it's pretty self-explanatory. Those kingdoms live on the top. There's not much up there, not much great land, but they mostly live off the mining and trade with other nations. Not much is known. Sorry?
European. These names are so European. I'm having such a hard time.
Yeah, it's very much based off Europe in old.
Bra, Gibel, Quaden, Ayrden, Lyra.
It's
Rivia.
It's me trying to pronounce any names from Lord of the Rings. It's very much a struggle. The Blue Mountains sit to the east, and as you can see, if you zoom onto the top right point of the map, the great old home of the witches, Kaer Morhen, lies to the northeast between the two mountain ranges.
It's very top corner.
Oh wow,
Yes.
that is far away. Fuck. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's over the East Mountains?
Depends. So the Blue Mountains, if you can see, the Blue Mountains are the ones that has on the Northern Kingdom side, so the north part. East of that is just mountains for as long as they know. It's just mountains.
Stuck between a dragon and a mountain.
Yeah, exactly. If you look to the south, where you see the big Nilfgaard Empire, there is another set of mountains there.
It's
What are they called again?
Anyway.
Nilfgaard. Depends who pronounces it, you know?
No, they all say Nilfgaard.
Depends where you put the R.
Yeah, exactly. I like to change it around sometimes. So if you check out the continent to the mountain range to the south,
Yes.
there is to the east of that is the Kurath desert.
I see him.
So yeah, south of, sorry, let me get it up. South, not much is known about the end of the south of the continent, presumed to end where Nilfgaard ends, presuming they have conquered all the realms below them. Tales exist of a land called Beyond the Seas, where exotic lands lie, far, far south.
What could exotic lands be to this fucking medieval shit show?
Hey man, I watched the first episode of Witcher like 5 minutes in. There's an old fucking stuffy, dusty old man wizard who's got a tower, and inside the tower is just like this random jungle oasis with all of these naked people in it. So the Witcher's got some exotic stuff, I guess.
I stand by my point. What the fuck could be more exotic?
Yeah, this show's very odd. Anyway,
It implies that there are the only proof of these lands are occasional foreigners you see in port cities. So it's implied that, like, for example, might have like a different build or skin tone and something like that. So they are many lands. It's like Europe discovering other lands, right? Is that kind of other continents? Okay. far east, over the Korath Desert, unmapped, but it is known that there is the land of the Zerinka.
Zerikania.
Zerikania probably is a better pronunciation.
Zerikania.
Which is a far realm suited for the people of steplands. Tales of people chosen by a golden dragon and Amazonian-typed women are known. It is only connected to the continent through the few travelers and merchants who dare to take the risk across the desert. So we only know that through tales that have been told. None of it is confirmed or anything like that.
Gerald's hair too long to get across the desert. I get it.
It's too fabulous. Too fabulous.
He's too fabulous. He's too warm.
He is. He really is.
He's a wolfy boy. You can't go that far.
Okay, well,
So the world in the time of the story has many races. The most prominent being the humans and the elder races, which are the gnomes, dwarves, and elves. Additionally, elves are split into two races, but we will talk about that later. It's very similar to kind of how they have wood elves and high elves. With the high elves are kind of like dark elves, but kind of not. They're mostly high elves. Kind of that.
Weird, sure.
We will talk to that. They're basically high elves, but if high elves were a lot bigger dicks than most fantasy.
Okay, right.
So
that's bigger dicks than most fantasy?
Yeah.
Like actually evil or
Actually
like,
evil.
Like
Okay, right.
Okay.
They're-
Not just haughty.
We'll talk about it a bit more
Yeah.
later, but they kind of represent the Seelie and the Unseelie. It's a little bit of that. So the higher elves are the Unseelie and the wood elves are the Seelie.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. The world is also
Yeah, they take a lot from like Norse mythology as well, don't they? The Witcher world.
basically nearly all European mythology. And some,
Yeah.
I believe even some other, but mostly European.
Yeah.
It is also infected with all sorts of monsters and magical beings that you can imagine from most folk stories and mythology, as we just talked about. The kingdoms. So let's look at our map. So you have Nilfgaard to the south, separated by the mountains of Elm. And you have the North Nordling kingdoms to the north. So the many kingdoms are all from the same heritage of the Nordlings. They are many small North states, but the four made ones are Edania, Temeria, Cadwendon, and Arden. And that is the basic gist of the continent. We're now going to travel back a little bit and take a look back.
I want to interject for a second here.
I
Just a realization.
was going to give you. We're now going to move back in time, and we're just going to go back to the start of the continent. But before we go back, do we have any questions about the continent and the world of The Witcher?
I think all fantasy fits into one of two things: either humans grotty, or humans are lucky. You know, and The Witcher's definitely looking like it's more on the humans are grotty side of it. We have the elder races, and then we have the humans. Oof. As opposed to, like, maybe say Lord of the Rings, where humans are a lot more like, it is with men that our hope now lies, and, the humans, they're so lucky their mortal lives, and stuff like that.
I'd like to throw another breed of race human into the mix, which is humans are really good at fucking, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I feel like that's
Yeah.
the same as grotty humans, though.
No, but grotty humans implies like they're worse than us. Like in the humans are grotty ones, like they're used as workers, they're the grunts, they're the lowers. But then there's other ones like D&D fantasy where it's just like they're just good at whatever. They don't really give a fuck. There's so goddamn many of them at this point. The house is infected. There's
just
nothing
the
we can do to
rodents.
get rid of them.
You're both on the money here. So I wouldn't call them particularly gross compared to the elder races. We'll discover that most races can be pretty horrible to each other in this world, and the only
It's based on Europe. It's based on Europe.
the only races that really are seen as not really better, but just less horrible, are the ones that just be like I want my own shit. I don't care about the rest of the world. I have my own shit. And that's like, everyone else is like, I want more. It's kind of like that. And when you want more and someone else has that, you have to take it. And that's when war crimes get committed.
Yes. That's fair.
Well, there wouldn't be any war crimes in this universe. No way.
Not at all. Not at all.
I have one other question. The Nordlings' 4 main kingdoms you mentioned, there's a spot in the middle where they all kiss. Is there anything fun there?
So yeah, they have the natural barriers of the Porta River and the 2 mountain ranges to separate the kingdoms on like a hard border, and in the middle is kind of like a no man's land. There's not any hard. There's not There's not any kind of like hard border there because it's to be too hard to steal, like to hold. But it's like they kind of like all merge in there. I don't believe there's any fun thing in the fun tower in the middle that they have to, like,
I was
post.
hoping there'd be like 4 watchtowers face to face to face to face, just like where the archers just chill with each other and play cards.
It didn't come up in my research. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it didn't come up in my research.
I wish. It's okay. No, my dreams are ruined, and I'm forever disappointed by the Witcher series, and I'll never engage with it ever again.
Fair enough.
Same.
Well,
Screw watching season 3.
Damn it.
you have to engage for the next at least an hour.
No! How dare you make me? It's fine. I'm not gonna. Don't worry.
So before we begin delving into history, we have to tell that we'll be going off the canon events which mostly reflect the books. And I'll be touching on stuff from other adaptations when I feel the books don't go into it and there's been lore added. So basically when something has been added by another adaptation and it doesn't directly contradict the books.
Right, okay.
So if there is
books as true canon and everything else is sprinkles.
Exactly.
If it misses the plate, it's not getting included in the dessert.
Exactly. Additionally, when we'll be going into using the years related to the human calendar in the Witcher world. As all races have their own way to record time, but the most commonly used in the time of the canon is the human calendar. This is similar to our calendar, the first year being an event called the Resurrection, which is a mysterious event we know literally nothing about other than it's called the Resurrection and it started the new year 0. It supposedly got a similar resurrection that happened in our world, that Jesus' resurrection. Ironically, we talked about it earlier.
Oh, man.
But there's literally nothing known about it, and I think that's literally the point.
Because he doesn't want to rip off Christianity as well.
Yeah. Many people can question why they just do. There's an event about 200 years before this that is like a huge event in the world that many question why that isn't it. I believe in the time of the show, they literally make that year 0 because it makes way more sense, but he just didn't for some reason. All time before this is known as BR, like our BC, right? It's just before resurrection. Additionally, many events have a time range rather than an exact date because scholars in the world argue and it's not entirely sure, you know?
It's so funny. Sorry. The more I hear, the more I'm like, it's like that simplistic art that everyone's like, I could have done that. It's like, yeah, you didn't, so... I could have ripped off Christianity and Eastern European folklore to write a couple books. What the fuck? But you didn't.
I think it's easier to build a world like this when a lot of copies, but the story is what makes the heart of the world. You know what I mean?
That's fair. That's entirely fair.
That's where his talent lies. Not today. He did make a very interesting world, which we'll come to. So before history, millennia before all of this happened, it is believed that an ancient race of lizard men existed on the continent called the Viren, the Vaughn.
Let's fucking go.
It is not known where they came from. It's not known where they came, but they evolved up, and they appeared one day, living to the east, in the Blue Mountains and to the east, and are near extinct in the modern day.
So they should be.
Not much to know about other than some cities in the current modern canon are built on the ruins of their cities. Another race
Let's go.
Okay.
that soon followed them were the Werebub. also known in modern day
Excuse me?
as boogeymen. They are,
What the fuck?
they are short, bulky race, much like dwarves, but completely covered in fur.
I
Let's
kinda-
go.
Again, not much is known about them other than they lived in the mountains along the edge and cultivated the lands millennia ago. They still exist to this day. Many have gone far, far east, been pushed out of the continent, but some have assimilated into human culture, but they don't really come up a lot in these stories, and they're pretty much forgotten about in most adaptations.
Nice.
The next to appear on the continent, and the first of the elder races, were the gnomes, having appeared to the best estimates about 3,000 to 4,000 BR. They are basically classic gnomes from most mythology, with short, slender people with long noses, pointed teeth, and large ears.
Oh, okay.
They are quite clever and expert craftsmen in all types of wares, from alchemy to jewelers to making tools to making weapons. They basically excel at mining and crafting new things.
I don't see any gnomes in the show, do we?
I don't believe so. There are gnomes in the game, and there are definitely gnomes in the books. So I don't believe there are any.
Yeah.
In the
Not yet. Maybe season 3. Maybe.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who gnomes? Sorry.
Sorry, I've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time. I very much apologize. The gnomes. In the time of the story, they seldom interact with humans, and technology is superior to any other races and have the greatest tools and weapons. They're basically gone like, we don't like anything in society, we're going to have our own little thing and bye. We're peacing out. They live in communal societies, and instead of having a hierarchical structure, this is more of a communal decisions. Soon after the gnomes came the dwarves. It is never said when they arrive or where they arrive from, if they came to the continent or evolved somewhere else. But in the games, not the books, it is said that they have been counting time since the year 2441 BR. So about 2,500 years before the resurrection.
Interesting.
Where the dwarves came from is long lost to time, as I talked about, but they are also a peaceful race who got along well with the gnomes and lived alongside them for hundreds of years, even thousands of years. So they basically went, hey, you guys are chill. Do you want to just chill out?
Broski, we're both short.
Yeah, they're mostly both peaceful races who just wanted to do their thing and craft and mine, and that's what they did. They're your classic dwarves.
What you're saying is they're out there playing Minecraft while everyone else is playing like fucking Civ or some shit.
Everyone's playing Total War and they're playing Minecraft. Yes.
Yeah, nice, cool.
They're your classic dwarves, so short, stocky, big bushy beard.
Big bushy beard.
And they have a
Thank
fondness
you,
for
guys.
mining,
I was gone.
forging, and living underground and in mountains.
They share the crafting skill of the gnomes.
They're not. I believe gnomes are like the pinnacle of crafting, but
I thought you were about to say the superior race. I was about to go crazy.
the pinnacle of technology and
gnomes should
crafting.
be.
But the dwarves are like stronger, bulkier. They're better at mining.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So they even have a joined city together in the mountains of Mahamkam, which is the mountains in the center.
Sorry, say that again.
Mahakam, I think, is the best pronunciation. I'm so bad at pronouncing names, by the way. I listen to all these names many times as well, and I still can't pronounce them.
I appreciate that the 2 times you said that it went from Maham come to Maham came.
Shut up.
You come and then you came. It's obvious.
So if you look,
Tense change.
if we look at the map, we can see that it is in the center of the continent. So not center north. So one of the ones that separates one of the northern kingdoms. So, and both the gnomes and the dwarves have a stronghold city in those mountains, and they still to the day of the story. Here they forged great weapons and tools for thousands of years together. Both dwarves and gnomes worshipped a god of harvest and fertility, similar to the god worshipped in the day of the humans, but not the same god. It is known that the god worshipped by humans is a real god that has appeared, some sort of spirit or god. So we don't know if this was a similar spirit or the same spirit or just something they believed in, and then a similar thing happened to actually come with the humans.
How you say appeared? Is this a confirmed eyewitness tale, or is this written in a book?
What do you mean? Who appearing?
The god.
It's in one of the stories of the god.
The protag sees him?
I know the protag sees them in other adaptations. I can't remember if she sees them in. They see them in the.
That's
books.
fine. No stress. Okay, but likely, more than just like I know that they appeared because there's a writing of it in a book from.
Yeah, I believe so.
Cool.
I believe there is a story where one of the main characters interacts with the god.
Excellent.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yes. So while all this is happening on the continent, in another world entirely, the elves are ruling and enjoying themselves. But it would not last. Eventually, a ruin came. It is not known if this is self-caused or a natural event, but they had to flee their world or be destroyed. It is also sometimes hinted that this was the Great Frost, which we will talk more about later, but I don't believe that is confirmed.
Ooh. Great Frost.
Fortunately for them...
Isn't that thing from... That's that thing from Thor, isn't it? The Great Frost.
Fortunately for them, compared to the gnomes and dwarves, they were on a level of gods or angels. They were far more magical, had far more powers than both the gnomes and the dwarves, and the lizard and the werebub that lived in these lands.
Oh, the lizards are still around at this point.
Yeah, they still exist.
Oh no, the elves are going to genocide the lizard people,
They're going to do a genocide, aren't they?
They're going to do a genocide.
Additionally, coming from another realm to find this world, they were far more aggressive and powerful and could bend the nature to their will. They spread across the world and basically came and conquered. So they started what was called the Great Migration. On their journey, they spread out within the worlds. They came through this world through a portal. It is also said that the elves came across the oceans in white ships. So very, very Lord of the Rings-esque. It is unknown if this was the effect of the portals coming through on the coast, or if they had ships that they came through the portal and it's an ocean. They built ships to go through on it. It's unknown.
No, they poked their head through the portal shit.
Push the boat through. Push the boat through first.
Come on.
I'm drowning. This is where
That'd be so unfortunate. It's like when you make your nether portal in Minecraft and it comes out at the bottom of the ocean.
Dead center of a lava lake. You're like,
Yeah.
Oh god, it's like imagine if you teleported in the real world, but you end up in space. It's just fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's not the the type of teleport that if it was real couldn't keep up with the Earth moving.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That'd be funny.
So after coming to the world, this is where the two groups of elves fractured. So you have the Aeon Shay, or the Hill Folk, and you have the Aeon El, which are the Elder Folk. So the Aeon El continued and made their home in another world and created the city of Tianala. Where they when they originally moved to this world, they began a constant war against the sentient races that lived there. known as the unicorns. The unicorns
Oh.
in the world of The Witcher are a sentient, multi-dimensional beings who communicate through telepathy. They can move through worlds that...
Telepathy.
Telepathy.
We're not getting stuck on this again. Keep doing that. I'm not doing this again.
I can't get it right. I can't.
It's fine. Telepathy.
it'll never happen.
They have telepathy. They're a fourth dimensional creature. Go
Thank
for
you.
it.
They can move through worlds at will and may even be able to travel through time. The ANL use them to travel through worlds much easier, as they do not need to use powerful magic to do it. So basically, they like controlled these beings and forced them to do their will and make portals for them.
How? How did you control the fourth dimensional fucking multi-dimensional telepathy being? How'd you do that?
They're powerful. They got powerful magic.
And I pulled out my gun.
And I said, do it.
I come in peace. I wish to guide you through the world. Come here, motherfucker. I'm gonna get you.
That is the most accurate retelling of the story that I've ever heard. That is pretty much exactly the two races and how they interact with people.
Hell yeah. Also, the hill elves and the elder elves. Which one of them picked their name first? Jesus.
Yeah, I know, right?
We are the hill folk, because we come from the nature. Well, we're the elder folk. Fuck you guys. We're going to another dimension. Bye.
It is Elder with an A, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But like they do pass down the elder blood, which is spelled with an E. So yeah, it's a bit weird.
Why do they make it confusing?
It's a bit strange. It's about I don't know. It's probably a language thing. Someone who understands languages and Latin understands better than me.
Someone tried to translate something from Polish, and it was like, eh.
Yeah, probably, actually. That's a really good point, actually. Everything's been translated from Polish.
Yeah, but I don't think the names have been changed. I don't believe so.
Yeah, but like a word, because elder, it could actually meant to be elder with an A, but then
also-
when they were talking about elder blood, they translated it into an E. You know what I mean? Like they
If
got
I'm-
something like that. Whereas
Doesn't-
elder would have been a name.
Doesn't Polish also use the Cyrillic alphabet? Am I wrong about? I might be wrong about that, but they definitely use letters that we don't. So
They use the same language as Russian language, I believe. The same alphabet.
that's Cyrillic, yes.
Yeah, Cyrillic.
Yeah.
Oh, I've typed in Polish in Google and it's come up with Polish. Language.
The poor Poles. Poor Poles.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely use. They don't use Russian specifically, but they use. Yeah, a Lechetic
Yeah.
subgroup and closely related to Czech, Slovak, and the Sorbian languages.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why, but recently I don't know if it's because I've been researching The Witcher, but on my like Instagram and TikTok both, I keep getting Poland memes.
Nice.
The type of memes, they play this song called I Love Poland, and they zoom in on an image and then like change the like a contrast to make it a white and red, like the flag of Poland, to basically find everything has Poland in it. It's the
That's
dumbest
a great
shit.
gag.
It's funny every time. It's you see it coming. You know where it's going. It's funny every time. I don't know. I love it. I love it.
Oh man. That's great.
It is great.
I bet it's like a national treasure to their memes. I don't know.
Fuck. Anyway, so the NL basically enslaved these unicorns, the ones that couldn't escape. And they're frequently used to plunder other worlds and kidnap humans to use as slaves. In their world, there is mountains of human bones. It is unknown whether these humans originally lived in this world and were slaughtered, or were brought there as slaves and are now dead. They command the Wild Hunt, believed to be a group of spectre riders who are omened of disaster, but they're actually a group of NL called the Red Riders. The Anshe, the hill folk, the wood elves in this sense, stayed on the continent and used their power to ruthlessly overpower the other races and push them back east and into the mountains.
I see.
They did band together and tried to put up a fight, but they were no match for the elves at this point. The elves created great cities and on top of the rooms of others and their own, and carved the continent up for themselves and bend nature to their will. They did end up living in harmony with the continent after this, but they did have to take it by force first.
Yeah. So like they let them make peace, you know.
Exactly. It's not known exactly when, but somewhere in the next 2,000 years, an elder healer and astrologist named Elethlin Algi, Ap Elende. I love elven names. I love them so much.
More apostrophes.
Was gifted with prophecies that spanned thousands of years and had a great effect on the world. The most famous and important prophecy referred to the end of the world. Also referred to Aen Ilet's speech, which is like her speak.
Words.
Yeah. It tells of an endless frost that would cease existence of all life in the world. So I'm going to give a quote. And I'm going to get Jude to read this one. Because I want
Son of a bitch.
I want Guy to the next one. Read us in your best prophecy.
Sorry, I just saw the start of the quote and all it says is "Verily, I say unto," and I was like, "This is good. This is good fantasy, baby."
Oh yeah.
Straight good shit.
Okay. Good lord. Here we go. Verily I say unto you, the error of the sword and the axe is nigh, the error of the wolf's blizzard. The time of the white chill, that definitely sounds like an innuendo. Time of the white chill and the white light is nigh. Time of madness and the time of contempt. Ted Dereth, Derade, I'd say. Ted Derade. The time of end. The world will die amidst the frost and be reborn with the new sun. It will reborn of the elder blood, of Hen Iksha, of the seed that has been sown, a seed which will not sprout but burst into flame. Sounds very dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, most like final prophecies are
It's a good point. It's meant to be the end of the world prophecy, isn't
end
it?
of the world, baby.
Might as well be
Like
dramatic
this.
about it. Enjoy it.
But like, I have a feeling this can't be true because the show hasn't happened yet, and we're thousands of years before it.
This is prophesizing a time, Kakam. But it is close to the time in the show. I will send another one. Guy, this is the Zoom call for you.
Excellent.
So Jude can't read it.
Send me dumb fucking quotes. Fucking what is this?
Could you the first two words?
South SE, thus it shall be. Watch for the signs. What signs these shall be, I say unto you. First, the earth will flow with the blood of Ain Said.
That's the Ain Shay.
The Ain.
That's how it's
Ain
that's how it's spelled. Yeah.
Fuck you, Eastern Europe. Your goddamn words are fucked. First, the earth will flow with the blood of Ain Shay, the blood of elves. So, the first side of the apocalypse is all the fucking elves getting murked.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically.
Nice.
So yeah. So by the way, for everyone listening.
The blood of the elf. I mean, they just start
Don't.
bleeding
Shut up.
bleeding profusely. You know, like nosebleeds and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Single elf
They
gets
had
an arm cut.
they had an arm. Yeah. Exactly. Any of them
no,
bleed.
it's the end of the
They
world.
bleed once. The world's over. It's fucked.
It's the beginning.
Don't cut yourself cooking.
Yeah, oh no.
But so for those listening at home, it's spelled AEN space SEIDHE. That's Anshe.
Sure.
It's great.
Sure it
Yeah, I
is.
know, right? It's like I have a lot of I have Irish family. They never sometimes the Irish they never spell stuff. At least in English how it should be pronounced. I guess they just bring the word straight over. They don't change it at all. They're just like, yeah, just this is how we pronounce it. Don't worry about the letters. I'm like, okay.
Oh, I mean, every single language has that. English is no better.
Yeah. Okay. So, This is the telling of an ice age or endless winter that will cover the world and turn it to ice and cover it in blizzards.
I remember this.
and-
This is that Game of Thrones show, right?
Yeah, exactly. The world would be reborn under a new sun. So here is a little bit more of the prophecy. Guy, you can continue reading this one.
More
Because
prophecy.
it's more, it is more signs of the end.
Okay, hang on. I'm doing a quick scan, checking for European words.
I think this one's pretty
There's
good.
none. We're good to go. Only those who follow the swallow will survive. The swallow, the symbol of spring, is the savior, the one who will open the forbidden door and show the way to salvation and make possible the world's rebirth. The swallow, the child of the elder blood. Pardon?
Yeah. Yeah, so that is the prophecy.
The swallow, the bird?
Swallow the symbol. Symbol of
Wait.
spring.
¿Quieres?
So, this enticed the elves to start the Elder Bloodline project, following the Elder Blood for this swallow and trying to create the most powerful beings possible. Basically, a breeding program for elves.
They need it.
They do.
They also, at this time, as time goes on, their magic and their powerfulness is kind of lessening over time. It's unsure really why this happens, but I like to imagine that this is one world that's confirmed does not have magic. At this point in the history, there's not magic in this world. So I like to imagine once they're disconnected from that, they kind of like weaken over time. It's not really confirmed or anything like that, but like they lose control of the portals to travel between worlds, and it is believed a powerful enough person, if they create this, will be able to open them back up.
Right.
So, over these next couple thousand years is a golden age that reigns over peace over the continent. We're found that dwarves and elves and basically live in harmony with nature. We can say that, but it was basically the elves took over the world and then went, like, we got all we wanted. You can sit on your little mountains. You know, like that's peace. You know, golden
Yeah,
age.
exactly.
Peace under a
Hey, peace
dictatorship is still peace sometimes.
Exactly. It's
Exactly.
Rome would have something to say about this. I mean,
They would.
Or are the laws of society not a type of violence against the people that live in it? You know what I mean?
there's a Fallout New Vegas quote
No.
I'm trying to remember.
Anyway,
Damn it.
in the year 230 BR, a terrible disaster occurs across the multiverse. The conjunction of spheres. This is the event that puts everything into disarray. That starts everything of the Witcher franchise. This is the event that should have been year zero, but wasn't.
Oh.
Worlds across the multiverse started to collide. Once passing each other like ships on an ocean, they were set on the course directly into each other. Space, time, and even the energies and forces of the worlds collided. This created bridges between the worlds and also threw creatures, races, and even forces of the universe themselves into new worlds.
Jesus Christ. That's
People disappeared in the blink of an eye, thrown into a new world, or people appeared in the blink of an eye.
That's kind of sick.
This is the day the world went dark. And maybe not totally unrelated, the day the humans arrived to the continent.
Let's fucking go.
With the humans came all sorts of monsters from across the worlds. It even brought a source of magic that had not existed in the world before, known as chaos. Also, halflings came through too. They're not really important. They kind of appear. They're kind of like other races. They're kind of just like, we're here
Like,
to
there's
here.
so many
We're
fantasy. There's so many fantasy worlds that are just like, oh yeah, then we've got halflings here. They're not important and they're never going to come up, but they're here. Trust me.
No one fucking cares.
No.
And Lord of the Rings went, yeah, those guys are going to be the most important part of the entire world.
And so they should be.
For many
Probably
generations
the opposite
after...
effect that no one wants to use them because they were. Anyway, sorry, continue.
All good. For many generations after, the elder races were forced to try to adapt as they were bombarded by these new dangers. it basically sent everyone into fucking chaos mode, right? They knew half the people disappeared, half the people appeared. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, I would imagine that would probably do that.
Insane, yeah. The Elder Races did not eventually see humans as a threat and allowed the tribes of the Duak and Wasgor to settle in the north of the continent. They're like, yeah, sure, have some land, like your people, just have some...
Yeah, vibes. Cool.
Yeah,
Looks
fair
good.
enough.
They saw them as primal compared to the races that existed, simply tribes, and nothing they hadn't seen before. Some of the humans went south and mingled with an offshoot of the elves called the Black Shay. This will eventually become the Nilfgaardian Empire. Starting as a city-state, it would rise to be one of, if not the greatest empire the world has ever seen. Yes. So, we're going to skip forward a few hundred years. This was kind of the people putting down roots for the empire, putting down roots in their world. For the next 700 years, people just kind of adapting to this new world.
Just minor developments, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. In the 760s, a new culture of humans made landfall on the continent from unknown lands. This was the beginning of the end for the reign of the elder races on the continent and the dawn of the age of humans. These new men, known as the Nordlings, were highly aggressive and skilled militants, and happened to also be quite racist.
Let's go. What the fuck? I mean,
Which
yeah.
kind of comes with the material, you know.
Comes with the territory, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a skilled militant if you're not a bit racist and want to take other people's land, you know?
I mean, yeah.
They near instantly began to war with the other races and razed their ancient cities from the ground. The elves retreated east, overwhelmed by the numbers of the humans, and hoping they could just outlast the humans and they die off. Elves, like most fantasy, have a much longer lifespan, hundreds of years, where humans, again, would live only to about 50 to 80 in this world. And that's if they're lucky.
Fools.
Hoping that the humans would die off and they could just take their land back. This was the start of the endless on and off war between humanity and elves.
Sorry, me fucking leaving my house because I saw some rats in it. I was like, yeah, they'll die off. Don't worry about it. I'm sure this won't get worse.
Legit. The humans are rats.
I come back, it's the rat's house now.
I mean, they're rats, but they're like, and also like, there's so many of them, they're a threat. You know what I mean? There are a lot of rats.
Yeah, but it's like you go and you come back and it's just like the ants in the third Ant-Man movie, you know? Like they somehow just went from like ants to super beings with like their own city and stuff. You leave your house too long, you come back and the rats have just like created an empire and they've like developed gunpowder and stuff.
What number of rats, normal rats, do you think if they teamed up, would you not be able to take on? I think like...
Define take
like,
on though.
If 30 rats came at me, I'm dead.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not dead if 30 rats come at me.
I think if one rat gets a good bite, you're pretty weakened. Like if they can bite your fingers off, right?
Yeah, that's if my fingers are in reach. I do one sweeping kick at a charging wave of rats, I can fucking clear them.
I think they're too nimble for that. I reckon.
You think the
depends.
rat's gonna dodge my kick?
Yeah.
I think
get
it
like one or two, but the rest are gonna get around you and eat you.
I want to prefix this conversation. We have friends who have rats. We love rats. Rats are cool pets. We don't intend harm against animals.
Fuck
But
rats, man.
Theoretically.
I could sweeping kick a rat across the room, no doubt.
Yeah. Okay, but now hear me out. Am I having to physically like I have to fight these rats, or is it just the rats are trying to kill me? Objective survive, you know? Because
No,
objective
it's 1v1.
survive. Sorry.
It's 1v1. Got to kill them.
I'm
Okay.
going to kill them. Otherwise, you're just an
30
elf running away, hoping the humans die off.
1vx.
I like how
Yeah,
your
I
thought
mean,
is to go and do
30
what the elves did and just run away.
I mean, yeah, because like all it takes is a couple. Like you do that sweeping kick, sure, but like what if a couple of them because they got good claws and they're used to gripping, they climb up surfaces. What if a couple of them grab your leg and start climbing up your body, and then you're trying to sweep them off, and while you're trying to sweep them off, the other ones start crawling up the rest of your body, and all of a sudden you've got a rat
start
in your mouth.
moving. I don't stand still while I sweep the things off myself. I'm not a fucking henchman in one of those Ant-Man movies.
Yeah, but they're all around you, man. They're coming from.
They're not all around me. I don't let them get behind me. First rule of the fight: don't let them get behind you.
How are you not going to
But
get
they
rats
come
get
from
behind you?
you.
No, they don't. We started opposite sides of the arena, dude.
But how are they not going to surround you when you're
Okay.
pulling them off and they just one of them goes around? There's 30 of them.
They're
How are you
gonna
keep track of
surround
them
you.
all?
They're gonna surround you.
They
There's
are
no
not
way.
surrounding me. I am faster than they are.
You're not faster than all 30 rats.
I am a faster than a rat.
A single rat, yes, but 30 of them. You got to keep track of all of them.
30 rats, no. Because you sweep kick them, sure. That's not going to put a rat down. You've sweep kicked them across the stage. They're going to be behind you in a few minutes. Like,
I've sweeping kicked them into a wall.
Okay, let's.
I love you guys. I'm so saddened that your self-esteem makes you think you can't take on 30 rats. I'm going with at least like 60.
I'm in the full belief that 100 or maybe 150 rats could take a bear. So I can believe 30 rats could take a human.
I think you guys are also trying to think of coordinated tactics from rats.
You're not wrong.
hey, man, I'm just saying, one rat took down the entirety of medieval Europe, okay? So, like, consider that.
Exactly. Very powerful.
Very powerful rats.
So, back to The Witcher. The gnomes were all but wiped out, going to hiding with the dwarves in the mountain ranges. The humans started to set up non-aggression pacts and start the groundwork of the next few centuries.
Okay,
of,
we're definitely
kingdom
playing Total
politics.
War at this point.
Fuck this.
Yeah, different groups of them basically started setting up land and being like, yeah, we're cool though, because we have a bigger threat. They also, arriving in this new world, with this new force that's appearing, began to experiment with the force of chaos and chose how to wield it. They created the Brotherhood of Sorcerers to share their magical knowledge. And in the 1830s, they founded the Chapter of Gift and the Art and established a law for all mages in the continent. This was to expand their understanding of chaos with further experiments and teach a new generation of mages. Anyone who disobeyed the laws were hunted down and killed.
Cool fantasy universe where humans create the magic for once. Thank God. They needed red.
Yeah,
It's always
I mean-
the fucking elves.
Other races had magic like originally, but it's the humans who went like, "This is a new force. I'm gonna use it." Like I'm
good.
gonna, yeah. It always in this world a lot of the time, like a lot of the elder races live longer, so they kind of like have a lot more patience and they kind of chill. They wait for things to happen, whereas the humans are a lot more. We have short lives. We have to make things happen, and we're gonna push. And no matter what, I'm gonna make this happen. They're not very patient. They just, I think a short life makes that happen. I think it's really interesting. I think what would a even shorter lifespan kind of creature, would they develop even faster than us because they're kind of forced to?
Maybe.
I don't know. Or would it be too short and they wouldn't be able to pass down knowledge? I don't know.
I mean, fruit flies don't pass down knowledge very well.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Anyone who disobeys the laws are hunted down and killed, as we talked about. They would spread themselves across the kingdoms and act as advisors in the courts and to the courts and the rulers of these lands, mostly attempting to keep the peace and keep progress going. A lot of the kingdoms didn't actually like that and rejected having wizards in their court. It's a big bonus. You have a wizard who can not only do magic for you, but also, and includes healing, but also defend your kingdom and deal with big threats, especially big monster threats. But a lot of the kingdoms saw this as kind of a manipulation, and they're kind of like affecting politics, which they were doing. So
Yeah, reasonable.
both groups, you can see their reasoning why they would not accept or not accept it. It's basically, do you want the manipulation or not?
But it's manipulation in exchange for a fucking wizard.
Exactly. It's like you watch the news, there's propaganda in there, but you're like, I kind of want to be informed though. I'll take the propaganda. The Nordlings continue to subjugate all the northern kingdoms, with the dwarves and the gnomes living in the mountains and the elves living in the eastern forests, all the northern kingdoms were covered with Nordlings, and to the south was the Nilfgaardians building their strength, assigned to take the lands south of the Amel mountain ranges and splitting the continent into the Nilfgaardians and the northern kingdoms. Over the next 100 years, monsters would become an ever-growing problem. With all the other elder races who kind of like lived with nature, forced to leave, the monsters basically came out and started to attack the civilization that was being built. No humans could even fight a simple monster that came to this world, let alone the big gigantic ones. As the humans expanded, the monsters started to fight back and slowly pushed humanity to the brink. It would seem that the elves would get their wish after all. But the humans' experimentation and chaos would be their savior, as after many failed experimentations, finally the witches were born. They had magical mutations, becoming quite like old elves or beasts with the magic inherently in their essence. These witches were no longer human. They gave them superhuman strength, stamina, reflexes, and even senses. They could see. They had cat-like eyes. They could see in the dark, and a sixth sense of danger. Basically, kind of like Captain America or Wolverine.
Spidey sense.
And a Spidey sense, yeah.
You mean the Peter Tingle?
Peter Tingle. They also had the power to tap into chaos, inherently using magic against monsters. Only Witcher men are known to have existed throughout time, probably as a prejudice, like men who seem to be the warriors of the world.
It's written by a Polish guy in 1980. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what you expected.
I mean, yeah, most fantasy worlds are written like human history. In that sense.
Yes.
The more modern times, it's mostly men in the armies. Anyway, except the one, and kind of spoilers here, it's kind of pretty obvious, Ciri becomes a Witcher. So Ciri is the only known female Witcher in the world. She is an important character, Cirilla, or Ciri, an important character in the story of the books.
Nice.
I do.
Oh, okay.
It
So
is,
we're like
it
up
is
to the
kind
time
of a
of
bit.
the show. We're up to the time of the show now, kind of.
Not really. No, we're still about 90, about 900. We're right before the 1,000, and the year of the show is about the end of the 13th century.
Right.
So
okay.
it's about 1,200s.
Right, the witches have started being born now. You're not saying that Ciri was born
No.
now
Yeah.
and has lived
Sorry,
for 400
sorry.
years.
Sorry, I'm saying that Ciri wasn't born now. This is when there's all men.
Right.
No,
So I thought you were
until
saying
then.
that Siri becomes a thing now.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
That is, yeah. Sometimes I mention things out of the timeline. Sorry.
No, all good.
I do love though, and it's sexist and bad. They shouldn't just have men in this thing. I mean, no, it's horrible. Do anyone to this? But I love the fact that they have a big mountain base away from the world, and it's just a big of buff boys living in the mountains, having fun together.
It's just a man cave, man.
It's just a big man cave in the.
No, guys, we're like so much better. We've got reflexes and shit. Like, you guys should just leave us alone. We're gonna fight the monsters. It's fine.
Let the
It's just
big
a
buff
bunch of,
boys
like,
fight the monsters.
varsity college boys.
It's like the Sigma boys all want to be Batman, you know? But they are. Oh god. So, the invention of the witches gave rise to the Order of the Witches, who were risen by the sorcerers to push back the monsters of the night. In this time, the witches were praised and celebrated as heroes who saved humanity and allowed them to properly settle their kingdoms again. And the numbers just grew.
I mean, that makes sense. The monsters are killing your kingdom and you can't settle, and then someone comes along and kill them. The fact that you said celebrated at the time makes me very concerned about what their reputation's going to do in the future.
We'll see. Just a bit of foreshadowing there.
Foreshadowing is a literary device wherein you...
By the year 1000, the kingdoms of the story today are properly formed. So the map is basically kind of like that, with a couple kingdoms that have been probably recently taken over by Nilfgaard and some of the other little minor border scuffles. the elves were lost to how the humans had survived. They could see it was a losing war, and elves live longer than humans. Yes, but only are fertile during a small period in their youth, whereas humans could just breed like rabbits their entire lives. Well, Neil. The numbers of the humans were just too many. The elves decided they must retreat further east to give humans more time to die off. They fled to the edge of the Blue Mountains, on the edge of existence to them.
What an excellent fucking plan.
When you come back and the rats have managed to become nuclear and have split the atom, and you're like, give it a bit longer.
Let's give them more space and time. Yeah, that sounds like it's gonna go great, guys. What the fuck?
Well, you'll see. I'll read a quote of how the elves in the time described humans, and then we'll talk about how a force of elves decided to fight back.
Me?
Good.
Yes, Jude, you can go.
Thoughtless, arrogant, selfish, who understand nothing and must ruin and destroy, besmirch by touch alone, denigrate and defile by thought alone. Assumes this is talking about the human.
Defile
this
by
is
thought alone.
This is by an elf talking about the humans. Yeah, not exactly the most pleasant description.
I don't know. Could be worse.
So, in the 1060s, a force of young elves decided to take back their homes instead of fleeing. Elilrin, known as the White Rose, took thousands of young elves and tried to take back humans of the north. But, unfortunately, they had great vigor, but the numbers were just way out. It was a slaughter, and the humans wiped the elves on the battlefield. Every one human they killed, two more rows like Hydra heads.
That's pretty funny.
This basically, unfortunately, the people who rose up were mostly the younger elves, more ready to take back their land. So and this killed most of the youth, which, as I said earlier, are the only ones who can produce the next generation, near dooming the elves in entirety. The elves, to this day, will never recover from this loss.
Dare I say, whoops?
Yeah. So they kind of took their time, and then was like, fuck.
I guess they called him the White Rose, right?
The White Rose, yes.
I guess every rose does have its thorn.
I guess it's more of a white lily, unfortunately.
Yeah, because Lily in Harry Potter dies. Harry's mum.
No, fuck you. You know damn fucking well that's not the reference I'm making.
So, we're now approaching the time of the story of The Witcher. So we're hitting next couple hundred years go the same. King was building up, people were retreating, and we're hitting about the 12th century now. So mid 12th century, so 1100s. At the time, an elven sorceress called Lara Doran falls for a human sorcerer called Cregannan, something like that. Lara is part of the Elder Blood program, and their bloodline is deemed to carry the Elder Blood.
Winner.
Unfortunately, they are slaughtered by humans when they discover their relationship, and this starts a new war between the elves and the humans. This war is ended in the 1150s.
1904.
It's a very long war, no? In the 1150s, as the final elven stronghold is brought to ruin. The Valley of Flowers on the edge of East is brought to ruin, sending the remaining elves fleeing into the Blue Mountains and beyond.
Shit.
But their child survived to carry the blood. We won't be going too much into most of the elven human conflicts. There are many rebellions, civil wars, a bunch of like that. There's one where one of the Redanian's firstborn starts a rebellion when she's disinherited, and apparently murders her entire family with her bare hands. Yep. Go Falco,
Nice.
you queen.
Okay.
But she does get captured and killed before she can become queen. But yeah, so there's a bunch of that, but we won't really be going into that. In the 1170s, the order of the witches has been ever growing since, in the last 200 years. And the beasts they're hunting have become more and more scarce to the point where they're fading into myth. They're fucking they're done their job. They're doing their job well. And so this is where humanity does the humanity thing. And after the witches had done the job and helped humanity exist, humanity turned their hatred onto the witches, being the only real unnatural things left to hate.
Nice.
Well, because I suppose also once again comes back to the short lifespan and short memory thing.
Yep, it is interesting about short lifespan, short memory as well. It's interesting. The Monstrum pamphlet, especially because witches have a longer life as well, so it makes them have they live for centuries. So some of the original witches probably not, because they probably have died out, but some of the witches might even be around this time. The Monstrum pamphlet was created, propaganda that turned the humans against the witches. And we will have a quote. You can read the racist quote this time, Guy.
Why do I always get the racist things?
Well, I let Jude talk about the arrogant and selfish humans.
That wasn't racism. That was pest control.
Verily. I'm going like the guy doing the thing for the British in Hamilton.
Hear see.
Hear ye. Verily, there is nothing so hideous as to monsters so contrary to nature known as the witches, for they are the offspring of foul sorcery and devilry. They are rogues without virtue, conscience?
Conscience?
That's probably conscience.
Virtue, conscience, or scruple, true diabolic creations, fit only for killing. There is no place amongst honest men for such as they, and Caermoren, where these infamous beings nestle, where they perform their foul practices, must be wiped from the surface of this earth, and all trace of it strewn with salt and saltpeter. That's a good one. That's a good. Yeah.
When I hear the middle part was all I can think of is honest men like me. Why should you earn the same as honest men like me from Les Mis?
Yeah.
Oh, very good guy. Thank you.
Damn, what's okay? I get monsters contrary to nature, known as which are offspring of foul sorcery and devilry. Sure, fine, agree, fine. They are without conscience or scruple, true diabolic creations, fit only for killing.
I mean,
They're just.
to be fair,
Do they have a couple fucking serial killers pop up or something?
No, they're just unnatural. So the witches don't experience emotion in the exact same way as humans. They're kind of suppressed in that sense. They still do feel them, and they definitely feel them strong. But they kind of have the ability to suppress their emotions.
They're also, feel free to say if I'm wrong here, but at least the understanding we have from the show, that the witches in the process of being made, they're kind of taken as children and go through a lot of trauma to go become these like half-blooded demon-like humans. So they're kind of the classic brooding
like the
stranger
Halos-
at the... Yeah.
Like the Halo Spartan program.
Exactly like
so.
the Halo Spartan program. They've taken at a very young age and gone through like literally all this trauma to make them this creature. They are built as a sharp blade against monsters. They're not built as people. So they kind of have a point. They're not humans. They aren't humans, and they are fit for a purpose. But the problem is, humans made them. They needed the purpose, and it's to serve the humans. And then they're like, no, we don't like you anymore. It's horrible. It's horrible. They're still people.
Also,
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Hey, also, I don't want to foreshadow, but Caermoren ... blah 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 must be wiped from the earth.
So, humans and sorcerers took up sword and flame and marched on Camloran.
No!
Camloran, the home
My
of the
bro
witches,
house.
was sacked,
Sigma House.
killing many of the remaining witches. The Brokeback Mountain stronghold was destroyed. The what is it? The frat house.
The frat house is
Front
gone.
house. No.
Killing many of the remaining witches that had protected them. The remaining witches fled. One of them being Veramir. I'm so bad at names. He's one of the. He's Geralt's teacher, and he's in the show as well. if
His
you watch the show.
dad. Air quotes.
Yeah. Yeah, based dad. Yeah,
His Witcher dad.
yeah. Yeah,
Witcher
basically.
dad, yeah. Yeah.
And only very few apprentices survived this. By the way, this is where I get really confused because is Geralt alive at this point or not? His birth is apparently supposed to happen around this 10-year period, but also, as I'm about to say, the knowledge and ability to create new witches is destroyed, and witches are forever tarnished in the people's eyes. But so it is. So, from the best I can find, I believe he was one of the apprentices at this time, and he was still underdoing his training, and Veramir got him out
Must
okay.
be.
with a couple
Yeah,
others.
he must have been like very fresh.
Yeah, exactly. They got. Yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
they even mentioned that in the show that he was part of like the last batch. I think I could be wrong.
The
but I
last
think
batch.
the last
Yeah,
batch.
Taken from the oven.
The bad
Too
batch.
soon.
the
Undercooked.
based batch.
The based batch. In the end of the 12th century, and yeah, here it says, in the end of the 12th century, Geralt of Rivia is born. So eventually, somewhere in the end, he was born and then created a Witcher. I believe it's probably around the early 1160s he was born and created a Witcher right before the things went through the trials and all the stuff. Anyway. Yes. And after this, he, at the start of the 13th century, he would start his Witcher duties in the area of Rivia, which is where he granted the title Geralt of Rivia. Not because he was born there, because that's where he first started to make a name for himself.
Nice.
At a similar time, Yennefer of Venderberg is born. So she is a very powerful sorceress who is very important to the story. And she starts to train as a sorceress around a similar time. She also gained her title by where she first served, I believe.
Start making a name for herself, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Most people get those titles, I guess, that way, instead of where they were born.
Kind of stupid.
Pretty much.
In 1233, far to the south, the powerful country of Nilfgaard, the ruler of the powerful country of Nilfgaard is killed and overthrown by someone only known as the Usurper. They do not know his name. It's not in the history books. He starts a war with the southernmost northern kingdoms and begins the earliest. It's kind of like the -1 or 0th Northern War because there's two more wars called the first and second. He kind of starts the
see.
0th war.
The Zero War, yeah.
Yeah. This is the time where these stories basically begin. Basically, the start of this war.
Yeah.
Well, at the start of the next war, I think. But yes, around this time.
Yeah,
So
'cause, like,
many-
one of the first big events of the show is the Nilfgaards attacking Sintra.
Yes, that is the start of the first Nilfgaardian War. That's the
Yeah.
big one, the big first one.
So this isn't that one. This is the zero one. That's
This is the
first
0th.
This is the prequel.
Yeah, exactly. So many events happen around this time. So the key event that happens is that Geralt invokes the Rule of Surprise after saving the life of a knight. So,
The what?
the Rule of Surprise. So this will forever link him to the child, Princess Sorella, through destiny. The law of surprise is a custom as old as humanity. The law dictates that a man saved by another, a life debt, is expected to offer his savior a boon whose nature is unknown to one or both parties. In most cases, this boon takes the form of the just for how destiny works. Takes the form of the saved man's firstborn child, conceived or born without the father's knowledge. So, these two people are linked with destiny. So this can happen in many natures. Is often romantic, which is quite strange because a child. It's very weird. It reminds me of the like Twilight thing with
on my daughter.
Oh, yeah, that is the ugh. I hate it. It's just grooming. And it's weird. I don't like that part because you're literally getting a child, and they have to be a full-grown person pretty much at that point. So it's a weird thing. It's very weird. Anyway, but they can also just be a very important person or friend in your life. For example, Geralt and Ciri. Geralt is a father figure to Ciri. This usually comes in two forms. The first thing, this will be either the first thing that greets you when you arrive home, because the Lure of Surprise is done on the road often, or what you find at home yet don't expect. So very similar. So e.g., when Geralt says it, he says, "I claim the Lure of Surprise, give me that you already have but do not know." And then immediately Destiny answers that here the knight's lover is pregnant.
Dub.
Yeah. So it's very much like a lore, magic kind of lore of Lure of Surprise. It's Destiny.
That's interesting, because if you say it's as old as humanity, then... Oh, actually, they arrived on the planet at the same time Chaos
magic,
did, so...
Exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, so that kind of makes more sense.
It's unknown, like, really, like, it's probably not, like, whether the humanities had, like, magic on their old world or not. It's not because, obviously, when they came here, they had to, like, find and use it. They had to figure out how to use it. But often, a lot of, like, something like this comes with humanity. So it's weird.
Weird.
Yeah, maybe I think it probably happened when they were building their society here, and then it just happened to be a thing that made because the magic was there, just a custom that came. And then people were like, "You can't fuck with that. Don't go against it. You will be fucked by fate." And everyone tries to go against it, and if you try and go against it, you do get fucked by fate. So Ciri, Geralt's child of surprise and the child of elder blood, is born in 1252. In 1256, Ciri's parents are killed in a shipwreck, and she is left to be raised by her grandmother, someone who does not believe in the Lure of Surprise and tries to keep Geralt as far away as possible.
Good luck.
If you're a normal person trying to keep this kind of weird, grim guy, keep away from my fucking kid. Yeah, which is fair enough. If you don't think the Lure of Surprise is real, it's very strange.
Just like knocking on the window. Hey, your daughter. Hey, hand her over. Hey.
You come to
I saved your dad's life. Come here.
That's such. I knew your father. I knew you. He's a great man.
I swear to God, I saved your dad on the road one day.
I got some candy for you.
Fuck me. I know your father.
There was this weird thing. The bear got out of a cage on the side of the road. I didn't put it there, but I saved him from it.
I totally didn't put it there. I
didn't put the bear there. Lost surprise. Give me.
Fuck.
He was
a
he
bear
was the
tamer
greatest
in another
star. He was the greatest starfighter in the galaxy and a dear friend.
So yeah, you're my child of surprise, Luke. You're mine. I got you. God. Soon after, the Nilfgaard usurper was also usurped by the rightful heir to the throne, who goes by the White Flame. Or the long name is the White Flame dancing. I think the full name is like the White Flame dancing on his enemies or something like that, which is fucking great.
That's got to be a
Flame-
weird translation, surely.
The white flame roasting the bitches he beats up.
Exactly.
The white flame styling on them.
Dancing on their graves. In 1263, Nilfgaard goes to war with Sintra. This is starting the first of the Northern Wars. They basically take them by surprise. No one expects it, and they quickly take Sintra nearly instantly. Ciri manages to escape, and Destiny brings Geralt and Ciri together. Many sorcerers, including Yennefer and Triss Merigold, another important person to the plot, the story, come together and protect the northern kingdoms from the Nilfgaard to stop the conquest. Both parties basically get to a stalemate. They're both like, we can't get past. We're out of shit. And they basically both retreat to recover again. Basically, the North won. All they wanted to do was get rid of them, like push them back. many things happen in the next few years of the book. So as the books run, so Ciri begins her training with Geralt. Some of the elves join Nilfgaard in their conflicts push against the Northern Kingdoms, who are the ones who are the really racist to them. So this pushes basically any non-human races start to join a thing called the Sokia Tail, which is basically a non-human guerrilla group, also known as the Squirrels by their outfits they wear. They're like camouflage outfits in the woods.
Is that a name the humans gave them? Because that sounds kind of derogatory.
I don't know. I hope not. To fight back against the Northern Kingdoms. They lay chaos and disinformation and spread it across the kingdom. The story of Ciri, the Child of Destiny, spreads, and every major player wants to get a hold of this girl. Everyone's heard the prophecies, everyone heard of her powers, and they want her. Geralt's just trying to get her fucking away from everyone else. In 1267, and that's kind of where we start by the way, that's kind of where we start season 3 of The Witcher. It's really good. In 1267, Nilfgaard starts a war, and starts a war again, and starts to advance up in the Northern Kingdoms. The disinformation that they've left from the non-human guerrilla have left them confused and defenseless. They won't work with the Northern Kingdoms. Need to combine to beat Nilfgaard, and they don't trust each other. So they are easily being taken by Nilfgaard.
Good disinformation strategy.
Additionally, a coup begins in the Brotherhood of Sorcerers, leaving it destroyed and leaving the Northern Kingdoms defenseless without their organized group of mages. The Wild Hunt, the group of the
Red Riders, the elves.
Yeah, exactly. Also appear in the world and join the hunt for Ciri.
Oh damn! Is that like the third Witcher, like the Wild Hunt?
Yeah,
like, kind of variety?
the Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
that one.
It's all about that.
Yeah.
In 1268, a treaty is signed, and finally peace lies over the continent. This is basically the end of where the stories lie, and I purposely left out a lot of the events and a lot of the reasons some characters want to get something or want, because like surprises and story based. And you can build a world, but you don't need to tell every character every story point, because it's not really important to the world, but it's really fun to find out and read or watch for yourself or experience in the game. I don't know what that's called, video game, when you experience it. It's not reading or watching, it's playing.
Discovering.
I guess. Yeah, playing. Yeah, play for yourself. Yeah. So, we do know a bit about what happens next after the story, after all the people we care about are dead.
Nice.
Shockingly, the fear of magic and sorcerers grows as it is seen as having too much power and control over politics. A secret group of sorcerers are found to have manipulated and orchestrated the events during the war to their ends. People decided it is to start witch hunts and end those with such powers. The official witch hunts happen in 1272 to 1276. People obviously have been not liking sorcerers before this, but this is when the time deemed by historians where they basically hunted everywhere. Later in the years, historians from the 14th century and 15th century refer to these times and wars and hunts as the Dark Ages of the continent. Thankfully, all this ends at the end of the 1200s. By the end of the 14th century, the White Frost begins upon the world.
No, the apocalypse was real.
Deemed to be a type of climate change, the world starts to get colder and yields. It's basically the start of an ice age. It's not really climate change as we refer to in our world. It's not man-made climate change. Right. It's a start of an ice age.
It's like the Ice Age that actually happened in our world.
Yeah, exactly. They happen every 30,000 years, 40,000 years.
Something stupid
Exactly.
like that. Yeah.
I think more than that, actually,
Climate change is
100%.
natural, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Except our world should be getting colder, but it's getting hotter. What the hell?
What do you mean? No, man. No.
Rusted Root's such a good band.
What the fuck?
Send me on my way, on my way.
Oh, from Ice Age. Yeah.
From Ice Age, from the movie.
I love that song. It's good. It is
Come
good.
on, man. Jesus Christ. I know 2 bands, Coldplay and Rusted Root. I gotta get something out of it.
The world starts to get colder and yields are less and less as the world begins to freeze. The end of times is here. The Anshe, seeing the signs and they recognize them, decide to fucking get out of here, and they travel to another world at the end of the 1300s.
Oh
It's
yeah, they have the unicorns still. I forgot they could do that.
They don't have the unicorns. They basically use all their magic they have left, the Anshe, to open one of the portals that they had.
Ah.
And all of them together, they manage to open a portal and they get out. They don't have these aren't the and L are the ones who have the unicorns.
Okay.
So yeah, it's estimated to be around the 1270s, but it's about the end of the 1300s. Humanity prepares to outlast the days, not prepared to leave this world, and probably not really capable unless they had the sorcerers. They just fucking killed off.
They just fucking murdered.
Yeah. Centuries after, historians try to piece together stories of the Dark Age and what happened. Finally, 3,000 years after, the world finally comes to an end, as the world entirely freezes in glaciers and the ruin of civilization is buried in snow.
Nice.
Though there is still hope, apparently. It is said that, in the prophecy, it'll be reborn in a new sun, and maybe they will look back on the history of the world and piece together the rich history of the continent before them. And that is the end of the Witcher timeline.
Excellent.
Yes.
Until the next seed is lit.
Exactly. Well, it's supposed to burst into flame, and that was supposed to be Ciri, but she can make portals to other realms, so leading people to other realms was the answer. But yeah. I actually don't know. Maybe it was Ciri that opened that portal. I don't know. That makes the most sense, because she can do that. That makes the most sense. This wasn't in the notes. Wasn't in what I read. But yeah.
Fair enough.
Maybe,
no
or
one
maybe
knows.
we
It's
just
not
haven't-
written.
We just don't know, yeah. So that's the end of the timeline. So we've covered a bit about what the world is on a basic level, and then some the history of the thing. I want to keep going further in, so I want to cover 3 key things. I want to cover magic, monsters, and witches. 3 M's.
Witches.
But this is not the time. Unfortunately, they will have to wait for another episode, because we have already gone for an hour and a half, and that's a lot. It's going to take another hour at least to get through that all. So
I want to hear about the magic of the boys.
So
Say,
next
you could have
time,
skipped all this part, just gone to the magic.
I think it's important to see the world and how it's built up. I like the world building and the levels of.
No shit, Dingus.
But yeah, next time we will go into the deep lore of how this chaos magic even fucking works and what you can do with it. We will also touch on the witches, how they're made, what trials they have to go through, and what that allows them to do. What are their capabilities properly? Even the magic they can wield. And we will talk about the monsters. We're going to talk about all the types of monsters and probably touch on a few really important ones and how they're fucking wildly different and completely out of control power level wise. And they're just like telling good stories, and they just happen to exist in this world. A lot of the different folktales have creatures on wildly different levels, but somehow the hero has to beat them. So there's often rules of ancient laws that can do it. You know? Like that Narnia shit. I was there when they were written.
Yes.
I don't think that's how the lion sounded, but that's okay.
Oh, you do it.
I was there when they were written.
I can't do a Liam Neeson voice. So I'm not going to try.
That's fair.
Peter, I was there. It was you, Barry. It was me.
Harry.
Okay, well, any questions about the witches before we drop off?
I'm looking forward to a new magic system. That's very cool. But also, I like an unmapped world. I like a freshie. I like one that doesn't have the full world map. It's good. What's north? Fuck knows. Dragons. We didn't bother looking that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I also like the idea that all of this war is happening here, but like just a few miles over the mountains, there could be like a whole other kingdom that's just like, this is such a peaceful world we live on.
It does feel very much like ancient history, you know? Like England sort of just like sailing around like, what the fuck's down there? You see old world maps and they're just like, kind of looks like this. I don't know.
Oh my god! I love looking at old maps. I look at old maps on like building tours and stuff like that from like even like the 1800s, and like they're wildly off, and it's so interesting.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's
fucking
assuming the Dark Current one's right. Who knows?
I mean, Christopher Columbus rocking up at... Shut up.
Sorry, what were you
I
saying?
mean, they're all missing Atlantis, so
You're
Yeah,
right.
obviously
exactly.
wrong.
You're right.
I mean, that's
they're all
the
still
next,
trying
that's
to
the
show
next
it around
frontier.
for-
Go under the water. Go explore under the ocean.
I can't see the ice wall on most maps, and I'm very confused by that.
so disappointing.
Yeah, yeah. I can't see the turtle that we're on the back of on most maps as well. So.
And the elephants that are carrying the world on top of that as well.
Yeah. Of
Where are
course,
they?
Of course. And there's a
They
big
really gotta
ball
factor
underneath them, isn't there?
We gotta factor that in. I don't know.
I always get sad when I buy a world map and I can't see my house on it.
Same. Yo, they don't think about me. They just don't think
They
about
don't
me.
think about me. Put me on the map, baby.
Put me on the map. And you know how you can put us on the map? You can put us on the map by following us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all the different social medias.
And hopefully very soon YouTube. I am currently in the process of using my god tier PC to crank out a bunch of fucking videos. So if you enjoy a little bit of YouTube, I'm putting up a video version of the podcast. It's not webcams, but it's got a little graphic I'm happy with, and that'll hopefully all be uploaded. I've got like 11 episodes exported. It took me like 24 hours to get them fucking done.
I mean, that's pretty quick. That's pretty quick for 11
good.
episodes. That's pretty
I
good.
mean, I have a 3080, so
Fuck. But yeah, follow us on YouTube as well. So we'll be at Living by the Law, as always. And I think we're going to also start some streaming stuff as well. So we'll just be doing research and doing some fun stuff like that. So
And that's becoming a streamer.
yeah, exactly. I have all the equipment of a podcaster. I might as well become a streamer at this point, you know?
yeah, fair.
But yeah, no, the webcam recordings will be saved to Patreon, which we also have. We currently don't have any like special features in Patreon, but we're building that right now.
We're working on it.
We're working on that. But if you do want to support us, if you enjoyed this whole thing, best thing you can do, other than give us money, is tell a friend. Tell your friend, leave us a 5-star review. We love it all. Thank you so much for listening.
Tell a friend, hug a friend.
Hug a friend.
Hug a friend.
Give them. And then when you have them and you have them in your clutches, whisper in their ear. This entire episode, everything you learned about
but
Witcher
like-
lore.
But like for real though, is Henry Cavill just not like the greatest? Like, can we
just
take a moment of podcast time into appreciating Henry Cavill? Like,
He is probably one of the best men in our timeline. Right now.
I would
Timeline?
down to that. I'd say best people. Full stop. To be honest.
He's just okay. From all I know about him, and I don't know, I haven't looked into this very far. He just seems like a very kind guy who's a big nerd and a big buff boy who just wants to play these nerd characters and do it right. And they won't let him. They won't let him do it right.
They won't let him. They won't let him.
He quit The Witcher because he had disagreements about the law. And he's literally done interviews where he's like, he's disagreed on set with the scriptwriters. He's like, the character wouldn't do that. What do you mean? The characters wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
That's not what the character would do.
See?
I love him so much.
Yeah.
He is us.
If only
He is us.
He is a lawkeeper.
He is a lawkeeper.
He's an honorary. He's
If you ever
an
watch
honorary
this,
lawkeeper.
love you, Henry Cavill. You're the best. And everyone else, including you, Henry Cavill, have a good evening.
I hope you wake up refreshed. Good morning.
Good night.
You know who else is great? Fucking who's the guy we saw at Supernova?
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban.
Carl. The fact that he only took the Judge Dredd role because they had him have the helmet on.
Yeah.
I love him.
It's secret nerd.
Yeah,
Secret nerd.
I love them so much.
Yep.
But seriously, dude, you could not take on 30 fucking rats.
I reckon. I know. You know, the more I think about it, the more I think in my mind when I picture 30 rats, I picture like D&D style giant rats that are like the size of a dog. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, you could basically just like elbow drop, and your body weight alone would crush like 20 of them.
That's
Like,
not
rats are pretty
my technique.
fragile.
I'm doing the pogo stick technique. I'm jumping up and down both
Oh
feet.
no,
They
you
can't
would be,
catch me.
yeah. But I'm just saying, like, even if you like, it would be the worst move. But even then, you're still like, they're pretty easy to crush. Is my point.
I saw a foot-long rat in Melbourne this week. They're not fucking messing around. Just because we have friends who have like civilized rats. The wild rats out there are not fucking civilized, and they're big. They're eating all our trash, and they're fucking huge. You're dead. Okay, somewhere in that would be great.
Thank you for listening to Living by the Law. If you enjoyed our podcast, please leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. The link is in the description, and thank you in advance. Also, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Living by the Law to keep updated on the latest about our podcast. We have been, and always will be, living by the law. Thank you for your company, and good night.